why is this such a tough thing, a difficult thing, something that should lead to a national debate, to follow the Constitution? The President has been away for 50 days, and nobody, the Federal Executive Council, the National Assembly, they are playing games on the very simple idea of having the Vice President act for the President. Why is this such a difficult thing?
Can you mention any place in the Constitution that makes it mandatory for the President to hand over?
As a matter of fact, I don't know where it doesn't say so. It says that if the President is not going to be around...
Let us be specific. A Constitution is a clear document that is specific on issues. Now let me tell you what you do not know. The various sections of the Constitution, particularly Section 145, it says whenever the President transmits a letter to the National Assembly about his absence, for whatever reason, the Vice President will cease to act as acting President when the President now issues another letter to say, that's the reference. So the reference is very elliptical. It means that, and I'm on authority to speak about this because I'm one of the writers of that Constitution. By the way, you may not be aware of that. Apart from being a lawyer, I'm one of the authors of that Constitution. If you now want an amendment, that's a different matter. But if you want to respect the law, and the Federal Executive Council is respecting the law, the National Assembly is respecting the law, we cannot behave in an arbitrary manner. And yet, at the same time, we say we want constitutionalism, we want democracy. Democracy is not about what you personally think on issues like this. Democracy is about what the law says. Apart from being one of the writers of that Constitution, I also happen to be a lawyer. So I can speak authoritatively on this to tell you that there is no mandatory obligation on the part of the President to handle it. It's purely discretionary. If you now want it to be mandatory, call for a constitutional amendment. On this amended, it is only the President who can now determine whether his absence is going to be of such a period and of such consequences that the national interest will be better served by his formally handing over. Now, if the President does not do that, and the Federal Executive Council, in its own wisdom, in the absence of the President doing that, the Federal Executive Council, in its own wisdom, realizes that, one, the President does not have the capacity, and there are many ways of determining that capacity. Maybe it's no longer functioning, as some of you did speculate at one time, which turned out not to be true. Maybe it's brain damage or whatever, is in a coma. Any of those kind of situations where the President is clearly, manifestly incapacitated, that is now when the Federal Executive Council moves in. And it's the only body in the Constitution that is allowed to take that position and then declare that he's incapacitated. Even then, it doesn't stop with them. They will transmit their decision to the National Assembly, most particularly the Senate, that will then create a board of medical assessors to now confirm medically what the Federal Executive Council has been able to determine politically. Until we get to a position in Nigeria where we respect the Constitution, even when we don't like the position of the Constitution, and then seek to amend it if we don't want it, we will end up with this kind of confusion. Nothing the Federal Executive Council has done is outside the Constitution. Yes, in your own personal view, and we know people who from day one didn't even think that President Yar'Adua should be president. We know people who never felt that PDP should be in power. So those kind of people are entitled to continue to play the games, this time with the President's help, no matter how obscene that game may be, to feel that the President's help has become another excuse to fight Yar'Adua, to fight the PDP government. But then what they should do, if they are talking about the Constitution, they should be talking about the Constitution that exists, not the Constitution of the imagination. In conclusion, Laulu, there's nothing in the Constitution of Nigeria, the 1999 Constitution, that compels President Yar'Adua to do a handing over note to the Vice President. Is it desirable? Your guess is as good as mine. Will he have done it when he left for Saudi Arabia if he knew he'll be away for 50 days? That is arguable. Should he do it now? Again, I assure you, President Yar'Adua, I know, will do whatever that is right for the nation. He will put Nigeria before his personal interest. And if the national interest dictates that he should do precisely what you are talking about, he has the power to do that. And I assure he has the will to do that, if the national interest so dictates. But please, today is Yar'Adua, tomorrow it's going to be another person. Let us, as a nation, try to respect the office of the president, the person of the president, and also realize that at the end of the day, this president has family. And the matter of his health should be treated with respect and with decency. What is totally unacceptable to the Federal Executive Council is that the president should be stampeded to do what you may consider desirable, but what is not mandatory for him to do because of the provision of the Constitution.